Here are some reflections on the beginning of John's Gospel, chapter 14, in the context of Christian Aid Week. Now, in our household, I am the organiser. Only the other day I was having a conversation with my daughter, and she mentioned that whenever I go away, she always has to set 3 alarms in the morning because she can't rely on her dad to be able to get up without me and make sure that she gets to the school bus in time. A few years ago, I was going away to a conference for 8 days, and I was quite concerned about how things would run at home without me. At that point, my husband would have to feed and organise 3 children all doing different activities, as well as getting on with his own work. And I have to say I doubted his ability to remember everything. So before I went away, I prepared 2 A4 sheets of paper that told him exactly what everyone needed to do and where they needed to be day by day. And I even included suggestions of what he could give them for dinner, based on things I'd made in advance and put in the freezer. Fortunately, that week all went well, and everyone survived, although they were all very pleased to see me when I got back. In John's Gospel, at the Last Supper, after Jesus has washed the disciples' feet and after they've eaten, Jesus spends a long time talking to the disciples. And I've been thinking about the beginning of that extended passage. Jesus has just told the disciples that he will soon be going somewhere they can't come, and he gives them a new commandment to love one another in the way that he loves them. Peter then asks the question, "Why not? Why can't we come with you now? I would do anything for you." So Jesus tries to explain things to them, and he tries to give them some help in preparing for life without his physical presence. Over several chapters in John's Gospel, he talks about the Holy Spirit who will help them. He talks about remaining and living in his love like a vine with its branches. He talks about unity and love for each other and love for the world. It's as though Jesus is trying to tell them as much as he possibly can to prepare them, even though he probably knows that they won't be able to take it all in, and that they will need to help each other to learn and to remain faithful to the way he's tried to teach them and show them. As we think about Christian Aid this week, there are 2 things that jump out for me in that reading. Firstly, Philip says to Jesus, "Show us the Father and we will be satisfied." I know what Philip means, I think. When we're in a relationship with Jesus, we are led, if we're open to be, into deep encounters with God that can give us a sense of having enough. We might be struggling with all kinds of things, physical, emotional and mental health problems, problems with resources, problems that other people have just dropped on us. Yet somehow, even though we might not be able to see a way through, we may have a sense of hope and trust that enables us to cope. Going through whatever it is, yet knowing that we're not alone, is somehow enough. Yet actually, particularly in the context of Christian Aid Week, I find in Jesus a profound sense of satisfaction and dissatisfaction at the same time. I'm satisfied because I know that God has provided enough. I'm deeply dissatisfied because this enoughness is not fairly shared and distributed. As a follower of Jesus, I cannot look at the needs of the world around me and be satisfied. I find it shameful that so often in the past we've sat in our churches and expressed our sorrow that people both nearby and far away are living in poverty or through war or under oppression, and we might have even prayed for them, but our thoughts and our prayers have remained exactly where we left them, and so often do not extend into action. This leads on to the second thing that strikes me from that reading, and if we take it seriously, it's a real challenge for us. Jesus says to the disciples, "I'm telling you, if you really believe in me, you will do the works that I do, and actually you will do even greater things than me because I'm soon going back to my Father." So we are challenged to greater works of loving and caring, of challenging injustice and of speaking truth to power than Jesus himself managed. That's not to say that our power exceeds that of Jesus. I think what Jesus means is that there are so many more of us, and we are spread out across the whole world, and if we each seek to be as much like Jesus as possible in all our thoughts and words and actions, then the world could be transformed. There are many things that we can do, but of course we can't do everything on our own. And that's why supporting the work of organisations such as Christian Aid is also so important. Together we can change the world, and actually it's about time that we did. I think we forget about that so often, and we're reluctant to open ourselves up to the amazing power that the Holy Spirit gives. I know it might seem a bit tricky at the moment. After all, we're all in our own little dwelling places and can't really get out or mix with people in the usual ways. So in the meantime, listen for the voice of the Holy Spirit, and she will draw your attention to what you can do right now and what you can do when we're able to move around more freely. Use this time as a means of preparation for the task ahead. Let yourself get angry when you see stories of need and injustice on the news, and channel that into prayer and preparation for the ways in which you can play your part in changing the world. Revisit the gospel stories and try to imagine yourselves into being alongside Jesus there. Do not be satisfied, but let your dissatisfaction with the status quo lead you into extravagant works of love and generosity, so that one day poverty and hunger will be a thing of the past, and everyone will have enough. Together in Jesus and with the resourcing of the Holy Spirit, we can change the world for the better. So come on, let's put our energy and our focus into getting on with it.